Welcome, everyone, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans, featured right here on the TNI Network. This is Trent with my co-hosts, Uncle Mark and J-Bone, and this is the throwback show for NWA-TNA number 69. 69, dude. You know, fucking Bill and Ted, anybody? All right.
What, Bill and Ted? Do you know me? Of course, Bill and Ted.
I love Bill and Ted. Did you see the new one? Did you see the latest one?
I have not, actually.
No, I watched it in the theater during quarantine.
Don't feel bad. I haven't either.
Yeah,
good.
I was gonna say, is it good?
It's nostalgia good. Storyline's a little loose.
Nostalgia good sometimes is good enough.
Oh yeah, me and Skull, Brian, we went to go see it during that. Remember that brief period during the lockdown where they're like, all right, we're gonna open theaters for like
December.
A week. No, it was like
November.
No, it was like last. I want to say that part of the summer where they're like, we're gonna try opening things for like a week. And him and I went to the theater, and it was like just a few people in there, and we got to see it, and it was great, and it was fun to see it in theater. But yeah, it was definitely worth a watch if you're a nostalgic, if you're an 80s, 90s kid for sure.
Hey, yeah, I watched Coming to America too, and didn't hate it until about 40 minutes in. But my sister,
I need to watch that.
My sister said it was. She was like, "You didn't hate it?" She goes, "You must have been really high." And I was like, "Well, I was." She said, "That's why."
I've heard very much.
I loved it. Absolutely.
Yeah, Jay loved it. Yeah, you said you liked it, Jay.
I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Like, it was corny, but I appreciated the corniness because I remembered how corny the original was and all the characters. They had all the freaking characters. So yeah, I loved it. That was good.
Arsenio was the MVP. Arsenio was awesome. Oh my god, it was nice to see him again. I miss Arsenio all.
Well, I want to say hello real quick to everybody in the chat. All you guys hang out with us. Thanks for a little bit later, guys. I was at Hemi practice tonight. Things are opening back up, so that means we're fucking practicing regularly again to start writing and get a new album going. So shit's on again, guys. There's shows coming up. Things are happening. So. Nice. We are getting back in the studio, so trying to get warmed up, get all that quarantine rust off. So I did that.
Was that a gun?
What's that?
Did you just flash a gun on
camera? No, it was a laptop.
Is this a new gimmick? What kind of gimmick is this?
No, I'm not Brian Pillman with the gun.
All right.
Waving a gun around. But so yeah, thanks for guys hanging out. If you are watching on YouTube, guys, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button like right now, so you don't forget to hit the like button later. So hit it right now. You're done.
Shout out, man. There were 9 people in chat and 7 likes on YouTube. Good job.
Look at that. Fam. Good job, guys. Good job. Yeah, hit the like, guys. Get it all going.
We appreciate that.
We like to remind people to do that like right away, just so you can get that over with.
Bill says he is traveling, but he may pop in.
Bill. Oh yeah, Bill is on the road. Bill's on the road on this one. I don't know if he watched the show though. I'm curious if he watched it while he was out. We'll find out. But we're gonna talk NWA-TNA number 69. It's November 5th, 03. So we're closing out. We're almost in 04, which is the final year of the Asylum, guys.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? I think we're going to the final
when
year.
Is the last month of the Asylum?
I want to say September. J-Bone, do you know offhand?
It's like late summerish, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it went just over 2 calendar years, and then they hit TV, I think.
It is late summer because they coincided the Fox Sports deal to go with because it was
fall lineup,
school starting and everything too, because it was an after school show. Remember that?
Okay, that's what I thought. Because I moved, I was working at a law firm here, and we moved to Nebraska, where I transferred to go to the University of Nebraska at the time, and that was in like the summer of what must have been 2004, because it was just as TNA was moving to television, because I fell off for a little bit towards the end because we were in the process of moving. So that means we're coming up on some stuff I haven't seen, which is kind of cool. So,
okay.
Yeah. So there's going to be at least a handful of months or a few months worth of episodes that are new to me now towards the end here.
These are going to be interesting because, this episode in particular is interesting because it's the second return of Sting, which, if you think about this, it's really interesting about TNA. Think about J-Bone, you'll probably catch this too. They treat Sting's returns in like different odd phases. So the first one, the very lacklustery first one where he came back from hiatus in wrestling, the very lackluster graphic and all that.
No bell? Is that a no bell symbol?
What do we got here?
Wrestling nurse in the chat.
No bell. How do you even get a no bell symbol?
I don't know, but that's goat stuff right there.
Anti-bell.
The nurse should be asleep. She's got.
We almost summoned it. We almost summoned the bell.
I actually forgot about it until she put her icon up, so I just remember.
Team Nobel.
You apparently summoned her with the thoughts of 69 because she said 69 in the chat.
Ooh, I did see that.
I know, PG show. I'll stop.
She is coming over tomorrow, so I guess that's okay. That's enough. That's enough.
Oh,
my nurse. Hey, take it easy. Take it easy. Oh, you guys get now. Listen, the Sting stuff is interesting, right? Because the first one, very lackluster graphic. We joke about the graphic, right? It's like Sting's gonna be. It's like Sting. It's like what the hell? That's all we gave.
The music too. Everything about it. The music, the graphic, like the way they announced it.
The first time.
Yeah.
The second time now, a little bit more fanfare, a little bit more promo to build up, but still not like huge, you know? Not really much.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I was unimpressed.
I was unimpressed with that too. Now, when he comes back in the TNA days and like the straight up TNA, I want to say, was it Final Resolution 06? If Critical Sting's in here, he probably could tell me. Because he does like another return, which is like the big one, the Orlando. But then they act like that's the main return, you know, like that's the big one. And then that's the big run. I mean, from there is the run, right? That's the one where he goes on the feud where he gets super jacked. He has the Bound for Glory main event against Jarrett in 06, which was a huge Bound for Glory in Detroit. So that's treated like the big return, but it's almost like they forget about these other ones, these other two. So it's like, and then I always bag on like how WWE acted like he never existed for like that 12 years it was in TNA. You know, he was gone. And then just stuff like that. So it's like, it's weird that like TNA, even in their bubble, acted like the Asylum returns almost never happened either. And like the 06 one was the big one. Hakeem, thank you. Final Resolution 06. I remember the cover, the poster is Sting on the cover. Yeah. And that's treated like the big Sting return. It's like, dude, he was there twice already with several matches, mind you, you know? So
yeah, he came out and had a full match tonight.
And he's got another one next week, you know? Yeah. So it's I just saw nurses kind of coming over and no bell.
Bell's going in Lake Michigan.
It's right behind me. But yeah, so you know what I mean? Like it's weird how in their own world, they did the same thing. They treated the returns like separate entities, and it's kind of odd. And this one really stands out to me. You know, I was like, wait a minute, like they almost acted like he hasn't been there. He wasn't there like 6 months ago. Am I crazy?
But they didn't make a big deal out of it either. It's just kind of somewhere in the middle. Like, oh, hey, Sting's back again for a match.
Yeah, it's
because
like
he's friends with Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, it's like Jimmy Hart called Sting.
Yeah.
They had to do something. They had to do something to counter the whole, hey, Hulk Hogan's coming. Hey, next week later, Hulk Hogan's not coming.
And I would say
Sting's, what the fuck are we going to do?
I would say Sting's a good replacement in that sense. I mean, Sting is a strong name. People love Sting. I love Sting.
Everybody loves Sting. We're all little Stingers.
Given where they are, they're in the South. And you got to remember what brand was bigger in the South as opposed to up north, and who got his start down south. And that group of fans for the WCW, the NWA World Championship Wrestling, just a little over 10 years prior, Sting was the face all over everybody tied who is, you know, went on and helped start this brand now, you know, Jarrett and all that. So it makes sense, honestly, that Sting would be a great counter to, all right, how are we going to fix this? And I'm sure it took some convincing, but I'm sure, you know, Jarrett still had ties to certain people and, you know, still was having conversations. There was still a lot of other things going on at that time, like the WWA and other stuff.
Right.
Floating around the country that was kind of like a WCW offshoot that had a lot of those guys tied to it. So
XWF in between there, that Hogan thing. Remember that XWF the year before?
Yeah, that, and there was something else that popped up around the time between the WCW demise and now that had like Sting tied to it, Bret Hart, Luger, Steiner, all that stuff, and I forget what that was called.
That was WWA thing in Australia. That was it.
Well, no, there was a thing. I think it was also called WWA, but it was touring the nation. Like it made a stop in Milwaukee. I specifically remember.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what that was though.
It was, and they even had a website and everything. I remember checking it out and looking at the roster, and it was a majority of it was WCW, folks. So
I want to address one comment. Codebreaker saying I should wear Sting face paint. I went as Sting for Halloween like 4 years in a row. When Sting started growing his hair, that's when I grew my hair in high school.
2015, 16, 17.
Here's a little stinger.
No, listen, I'll tell you, dude. He started growing his hair in 96. Anybody remembers that? I started growing my hair in 96. When he started becoming dark Sting, my hair grew with his. I go out a trench coat like Sting. I wrap my baseball bat in electrical tape like Sting.
You're practically brothers.
When I met Sting, I don't think the nurse knows the story. When I finally got to meet Sting in 2008, Bound for Glory, Chicago Fan Fest.
I still owe you a picture.
You still owe me a picture of this, by the way. And I meet my fucking icon, Sting. And the only thing I can muster up to say to Sting, then mind you, I'm watching Sting since like 91 at this point, right? 91. I remember the first time I saw Sting's 90 when he won the Great American Bash title from Flair. First time I heard of Sting.
Man, what a moment.
Right. First time I heard it. And I wasn't a huge wrestling fan at the time, but I heard about it. You couldn't just help hear about it. Sting was the one WCW guy that was the crossover guy, for everybody else. And I love Sting. Love him. And fucking I get to meet him. I get up in line and the first thing he's like, "Hey buddy, how you doing?" I'm like, I've been a little Stinger for 20 years, man. And he just looks at me. He's like, "That's great, man." Like, what the fuck did I just say? What did I just do? He signs my poster, sweet autograph, signs my poster. He's like, "You want to get a picture?" I'm like, "I don't have a camera." And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" My one moment, man. I botched it.
So much for the little Stinger.
Total dummy.
Mania.
Total botchamania moment. It's such an idiot.
See, I'm showing my age here, but man, I was wearing black trench coats in high school before the NWO. Back before it was cool. Back before it was
early
cool.
90s.
You guys are Gen Xers. That's why. That's why. Well, I'm a cusper. That's why it wasn't.
Breakfast Club, man. Come on.
That was back before it was like, looked down on as in, oh, what's he doing? What's he got under his trench coat?
Trench coats are cool, man.
Yeah,
cool.
Well, I mean, there's a thing tied to that, about 10 years later that was like really horrible.
Trench coats are still cool.
But let's jump into this one, guys. Let's jump in. We did start a little late, thanks to me, so I'm gonna jump in. So episode number 69.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
I know. We're gonna go through it. There wasn't a ton to even dissect on this one. So we'll be able to get to the last segment is probably the meatiest of them all. The Raven story, and then the Jarrett Sting and that whole thing. I think that's the meat of this episode. We'll spend a little more time on that. The rest was like the opening match is fucking ridiculous. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Lazz is in it. Excuse you.
Excuse you is right.
This is Lazz's last televised match ever in his career.
Did you look this up?
I did. Because I was like, man, whatever happened to this dude? Because this is the second time we've seen him.
Whatever happened to him?
This is it, man. So he was an NWA Georgia junior heavyweight champion. And then he came to TNA for that previous appearance. And then he lost the title, came back to TNA for this appearance. And then that's it.
That's it, huh?
End of the story. At least what I saw online.
Well, wait, are you sure this isn't the guy that was in the first several months of the NWA-TNA came out with that other guy, Lenny as a tag team? Yeah,
no,
Bruce.
That's not him.
Brucey.
That's not him.
It's Brucey with makeup on.
No, it's not Brucey.
It's not Brucey? I could have sworn this was Brucey with makeup on.
Man, this is Lazz.
This is Lazz.
That's just an alter ego with makeup on, and he slicked his hair.
No, this is Lazz. Right. Let's we'll get to it in a second. But before we do, November 5th, 2003. Now I was on Dave's couch, forked over my $5. It was November, so we're probably carb loading at this point. I'm going to say pizza again. We're going with the pizza on this one. Order the pizza. Getting ready for episode number 69. Mark, where were you? November 5th, 2003. And in the chat too. All you guys, I'm gonna start asking the chat. Where were you guys on November 5th, 2003? Cue Critical Sting going. I wasn't born yet, but go ahead.
Man, 2003. This is like the week after Halloween weekend. I honestly am probably still recovering, so I bet you, because back then I didn't have kids yet, so I still like used days off for like recovery from partying and shit like that. And I'm gonna guess with Halloween being on a Friday the previous week, I probably took half the next week off. So I probably caught this episode on the couch, I would guess, on time. I'm guessing the video game store. I probably wasn't working this whole week because that's how I rolled back then.
All right, fair enough. J-Bone, we've decided J-Bone for the fall of 03. It's a blank. But J-Bone was just running around with a pumpkin on his head since like July of this year. So we'll go with that, J-Bone. Yeah. We'll go with that, J-Bone.
Still in candy coma.
All right, so that was it. So now the opening of the show is so they open with they milk. Somebody in the chat was saying it too. I think I forgot who was saying it. Somebody in the chat RK was saying they are milking the Hogan clip. That one clip. Man. I mean, they recap with that. Full recap with the Hogan, Jarrett, AJ, Jimmy Hart, Sting. I mean, the whole thing. But I got to put in perspective for people. When Jarrett comes out later with the magazines and stuff, dude, I'm telling you, this was a huge deal.
That was so good. That was my favorite part of this whole show.
It was, yeah. But here's the thing. I remember this was on ESPN. So for people who really like, I get it. Like AEW is a new kid on the block doing that stuff. TNA did this when they were the new kid on the block. When WWE was like still kind of running off the attitude like fumes, that they were still riding high enough. TNA was doing shit like this. So like you have to give that credit where it's due.
And they were still a small regional at this point. They were too, operating out of one building, running week to week, not knowing if there was going to be a show the next week. I mean, pretty impressive stuff for the time. I'd be milking the shit out of this.
You have to.
You have to. Well, especially because they know at this point it's fallen through due to injury.
Right.
Hogan. So
get your mileage.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask J-Bone though. Jay, so you're watching this for the first time, right? How do you feel as a first time viewer? Are you like, I'm sick of seeing that clip, or do you get where they're coming from here?
I'm at the point now where I'm kind of fast forwarding through some of the throwback clips, like rewinding, like, okay, I know what's going on. I mean, sometimes there's a specific tie-in that you should pay attention to. If they're like hinting at something debuting this week, then I'll, pay attention and stuff like that. But like today I noticed I was like, okay, skip ahead. All right, we're live.
Yeah. And look, you gotta get your mileage out of this kind of stuff, especially because it fell through. So,
well, and like I said before, you never know when people are actually starting to watch these. So you want to give the new fan a little backtrack. Yes. Be like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what's going on. Okay, now we're caught up.
Great point.
Jay, sorry for laughing in the middle of your recap there.
I was just assuming it was something goofy in the chat.
Yeah, Nurse Nicole is leaving. She just her final comment was "Good night, my little stinger." And I love that that's Trent's
nickname. Tomorrow should be very interesting.
Yeah, like from now on, that's Trent's nickname for the rest of his life.
That's a whole lot of different kind of role play. I don't want to know about.
A lot. Tomorrow should be a lot of fun. I need to meet Sting again. Like I gotta tag along Basil to like AEW one day and be like, hey, listen. He's like, you're the little Stinger guy. I'm like, fuck. I am probably gonna join Basil one day to go with him and hang out and get to redeem myself at some point with Sting. So we'll see.
You mean
right
down south?
They're touring. Well, Basil told me to come with him one day. He's like, come on. I mean, I do. You guys
come to the Austin show.
That's the one he told me because him and I love Austin.
I'll meet you guys.
So he's like, why don't you come to Austin? I'm gonna tell the nurse like, why don't we all go to Austin and do this? Because dude, the thing is, I know half that roster has come through AAW. Like legit. Like
Right.
half that fucking roster has worked for us. I know half of them. So it's not like I don't know anybody in there. So I definitely
you're gonna botch the Sting thing again, man.
I am. I know.
You're gonna like light him on fire or something by
Hey
accident.
man, what happened at Starrcade 97? Ah, fuck.
You know what? I'm starting to see these dates. I'm starting to see these dates pop up all over the place, and I'm kicking myself now. I'm trying to be a brave little bone, and I'm kicking myself because I sold my AEW Milwaukee tickets late last year.
We need a you fucked up chant here, huh?
You fucked up. You fucked up.
So let's get going. We open up strong, guys, because you know what it is. It's Scott Hudson with Jimmy Hart in the back.
Oh, dude, that bell's gonna get wrecked tonight.
It's getting wrecked.
Oh my god, this was Scott Hudson, a mania's Hudson Hurricane all show long.
Hart is hyping Sting, and he said your biggest. He said this to Jerry. He said your biggest nightmare may be under the tip of your nose, and he does that very, very Cesar Romero laugh at the end. You know, like very animated laugh afterwards, and they start off the opening after that. The opening match is so goddamn bizarre and makes no sense whatsoever. Kid Kash is teamed with Lazz, who is kind of like the Goldust on steroids type character. And he's like uncomfortable team with him. Like, I don't know, you know, he's like, he's pissed off that he's teamed with him against the Gathering, Julio Dinero and CM Punk. Kash is like super uncomfortable the whole time. Lazz doing all the gay stuff, the humping and all that shit.
You catch Don's line. Don had a really.
What was the line? Oh, he had a line. I didn't write it down. What was it?
He's talking about Kid Kash, right, and how he treats other people, and he says he disrespects everyone, men, women, and in Lazz's case, both.
Are you serious? And I didn't catch that.
Tanae breaks up, and you can tell he's laughing, and he goes, "That was a good one."
That's fantastic.
I was literally dying laughing during this. Go watch that back. Good. Just for today. Fucking breaking character. Like it was. He goes. Tanae goes. You can hear it audibly on the microphone.
I love that. I love that Don did that. That is. That's
so
fantastic.
Funny. Oh my god, this would never happen today. But in the context of the time, like this is why the throwback is. If you could just put yourself in a time capsule, the throwback is so much fun, and you should absolutely watch along for little, like just super like ridiculous moments like this.
Nuggets like that.
Yeah, Tanae is. This episode was a great Tanae episode, by the way, all the way around. All the way around.
I in my notes at one point I have Mike Tenay is a genius. I just wrote that down.
At one point I wrote down that's why he's called the professor. Like he's just
so good.
So
I feel like the Kash character this one is lost because like he did the feud with Abyss and that trails here a little bit, but it's like I don't think they know what to do with him right now.
Wait, one more piece of Lazz trivia I discovered while digging. Since so many people are going to be interested in this. Lazz in 2001, NWA Wildside wrestled an intergender match against Mickie James.
Get out of here. For real.
Hell yeah. For real. I don't know if you could ever find tape of that, but like how crazy must that have been for an intergender back in 2001?
Yeah.
Nuts.
That is pretty nuts.
And that's when she was really just getting started. Because she came in to NWA-TNA and she was 3-4 years in ish,
if even.
I'll tell you boys something. He just had a match on April 24th, 2021.
What?
He came out. His last match prior was in 2017, and he fought a match against the Brothers of Digestion, Hot Dog, Starks, and Pancakes, and he teamed with a guy named Adriel Noctis. And this was in Pennsylvania. So,
oh shit, Bill! Wow, I bet Bill was there.
Pittsburgh, so other
side of the state. Yeah, but Bill was probably there.
His matches were literally his last match was this one, 03. This one we're watching here.
Yeah, that's what I saw. It was like this was the end of his career.
This was the end. Then he did 3. Then he came back in 2017.
Okay.
Team with Caprice Coleman, which is amazing for an NWA Wildside reunion. Then a match for Anarchy Wrestling in 2017. against Torque, and then this one in 2021. So this guy weekend warriors once in a while. Very now, interestingly enough, Kid Kash has fought Lazz in 2003 for USACW in Tennessee. So he must have been local dude and all that. But anyway,
so okay, when we tag this episode, and everybody in chat, if you tweet about this episode or post about it anywhere, please tag it with Lazz so that all of the people who are searching for Lazz trivia know that we have now built and prided a treasure trove, the ultimate resource online for Lazz trivia, notes, facts, career recap, title wins, intergender matches. This is all Lazz all night. All right. I'm ready.
Hashtag love for Lazz.
Yes, hashtag love for Lazz. I know J-Bone, that's fantastic. Love
not seeing any. Oh, his name is Dustin Massey. He's on Facebook. Let's see.
Oh boy.
Dustin Lee Massey. Well, there's his Facebook. He's still got the Lazz. The photo, his Facebook photo looks like it's a photo from probably TNA.
Wow.
Dustin Lee Massey. That's Lazz.
Does he still have the makeup on?
It has a makeup on in this photo.
It must look really funky by now.
But anyway.
So just flew in from Germany and boy, my arm's tired.
All right, take it easy. Get a cut his mic. But cut his mic. So it was a nothing match. I mean, nothing really happened with this one. Cash is a little lost at this point, but the Gathering does win. I like the name of their finisher, the Near Death Experience, which is a powerbomb neckbreaker to Lazz. The name is awesome, actually.
Badass name.
That's a really, really good name for a
hell
finisher.
yeah.
What is it called?
The Near Death Experience.
Oh,
badass.
Isn't that cool? Like, I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Very cool. The move, honestly, the move is really cool for the time for a tag.
It was, yeah. It definitely was. This is where, like, Punk's still motivated at this point, right? He still loves wrestling around this time. And look, no, not to shortchange Julio, honestly. Like, I think Julio is very underrated.
I agree.
For the time he's putting in here,
Yep.
But Lazz beats down. I'm sorry, Cash beats down Lazz after the match. Abyss makes the save, and they brawl to the outside. So they're outside at this point. So that comes into play.
This is great.
This is fantastic, actually.
God, this is good.
So we're back again to Scott Hudson with Raven in the red light kind of darkness room. Discusses the last man standing match with Father James Mitchell. I love the Raven lines here. The Twilight of the Gods. This is Ragnarok. I mean, it's classic Raven. He's fired up in this episode. Yeah. I love it. You can tell as the episode goes on, you can see, Jay, that we find he's back in the title hunt, and the motivated, fired up Raven is just emerging big time here. Like, he's really on in this episode.
Well, he's gone through a lot lately. So he's coming to the end of this chapter, and he's finishing strong, or at least trying to, by the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah,
great.
He's fired up. He ain't taking any bullshit. He's on a mission.
He is. He was great. He was actually great.
My takeaway line, favorite Raven line from this little bit right here. Father Jim Mitchell, you've been reassigned to a new parish in hell.
Awesome. Raven is such an artist. I swear, guys, the ECW runs one thing. I will go on record right now and say that his TNA run to me trumps the ECW run.
This run is really fucking good.
It's just a different level. It's a different level of character psychology.
That's the thing. The ECW run relies heavily on the relationships with Dreamer and Sandman, and the actual. It just was very different. This is a much more character built psychological Raven than in ECW. He was still those things, but not as developed. This is 10 more years of experience of Raven.
Exactly.
And it shows.
Right.
And I think also at this point in his career, he's got a chip on his shoulder too, because of what happened up north. And he's coming out looking, he's changed his look. Remember when he came in, he did new tattoos, new hair, new makeup, new everything. Brand new Raven in a familiar package.
Dude, absolutely. No, this is an amazing run for Scott Levy, man, no doubt. All right, next segment's a little long. Tenay's in ring, calls out Jeff Jarrett to discuss the match with Sting. Tenay being great with the expressions and questioning Jeff. Talks about the Sting thing, the Hogan thing. Talks about the global impact of the Hogan Jarrett feud. Pulls out the magazines, which you liked, Mark, right?
The visual aid's so effective here.
Yeah, because it shows that it's different time. And it shows how big this deal was. It's in the press,
Yeah.
German magazines and Japanese magazines.
And you have to remember, in the context of the time, a magazine was a much more legitimate form of publication than it is now.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Like that was a big deal, and it really legitimized wrestling as a sport. Because remember, this is like the edge of kayfabe, right? Like you're still towing the line. Some people are still 100% kayfabe all the time,
right?
So it's a different environment and atmosphere. That's again what makes going back to watch these shows so fun for me personally. Is I have to put myself in like a whole different time capsule mindset, because sometimes I'll find myself in, I would say that I'm probably the most sensitive to this probably on these panels, but I get offended sometimes by these throwbacks and have to like pull myself back and remember the context of the time. And that's what I like about it. It challenges me to just like, again, put myself in a different mindset completely to watch these. In a fun ass mindset too, because these shows are wacky.
They're so fun. They're so fun. But Tanake is, I love here. Tanake kind of questions Jarrett, right? And he questions him, Jay. He's like, and then Jarrett gives him, he's like, I'm sick of your smart ass comments today. Like I laugh every time. Like he calls Tanay. I was like, I'm sick of. He's like, God damn it, Tanay, you better watch that mouth. Like he'll always. The last 3 weeks have been doing that. He's like, Today I'm real tired of you. Like,
he's pushing his buttons. He's trying to get that answer out of him. He wants to why.
This was actually really good.
Oh wait, that's coming up. My bad.
Yeah. He kicks Tanay out of the ring.
That was awesome for Heat.
But
Tanay from Tanay.
Right. And the way Tanay stands strong is like not leaving yet. He's like, no. And he's like, get out of here, Tanay. You better get out of my ring. And the way Tanay slowly leaves, and he's like, Wes, you better get your boy out of here. And the way Tanay stops, but the look back he gives him, right? The look back he gives Jerry. He looks back at him, he's like, and I was like, that is so good. I'm like, my comments literally say Tanay is capital so good.
Yeah,
because it got me in that moment, man.
Well, this is such a professional moment. We dog Jarrett all the time. Let's give him some credit when he's good, and we do. This is a great in-ring from Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that the thing with Tanay was improv. I would bet that was a spur-of-the-moment shoot type deal. That's a great call from Jarrett. I mean, Tanay sold it like a pro. It's just good generaling from Jarrett. Kept up. This is a long fucking segment. Jarrett was in the ring. He was in the ring for the whole thing, and he really kind of generaled this entire segment. A lot of credit to Jarrett for keeping it entertaining for this long. I did not fast forward through this segment.
J-Bone aged 2 years in this segment alone, right, J-Bone? You look grayer than last week.
Oh, it was crazy how it bounced from Jarrett to Tanay, and Don West throwing his 2 cents in from outside, and then like a brief moment of, okay, where's this going? And then all of a sudden people are looking around and, oh, look over your shoulder, Jarrett. Look in the crowd. There's in the white shirt, but the white spotlight on him, so he sticks out like a sore thumb. It's AJ Styles, the former champ. And then we continue.
His music hit, though. His music did hit, though, didn't it, first? I think his music played, I wrote down. Didn't that get everybody's attention? That like stopped Jarrett from talking?
I thought it was still like the crowd going nuts from Jarrett going off on Tanay, like in the whole, like F you and
I
forget.
Yeah, I wrote AJ's music hits and he interrupts and does the crowd thing. Did you guys catch? Okay. Did you guys catch a moment, Jay, in this real quick? They showed a lower third of like Siaki, Ekmo, and Trinity watching. Did I? Yes. Yeah, I blinked and I missed that.
In the box. Yeah, if you blinked, if you legit blinked, you missed it. And
I blinked, I missed it.
They're like looking at the TV, like.
Yeah, I put picture in picture. They should have had commercials like AEW because it would have been like a leading edge type thing if they'd have done it that way. So
Tanay references. That's the only reason I knew it happened, but I missed it.
It reminded me so much of what they do now because it's just a small little picture in picture. It was so kind weird. It was a weird. They're really, really trying to force
a lot with this.
a lot into this segment.
I know.
So go ahead.
At least they showed how to properly watch a TV and not from the side,
Yeah.
Whoa, would you look at this television machine here, huh, cameraman?
You know what's funny? I guess I've been so groomed to that over the decades that doesn't even bother me anymore. The TV to the side thing. I mean, I know it should, but it just like it's just part of wrestling culture,
right? Right.
It's like expected, you know.
So AJ's best promo to date at this point.
Oh yeah,
can anybody agree?
Hands down.
He was great here. I was like,
fantastic.
Well, I'm like, where did this AJ come from all of a sudden, right?
And this is the time that Jarrett picks to call him a hillbilly. I was thinking, man, he sounds better now than he has ever sounded. Like, he should have used that one a year ago on him.
He totally calls him a hillbilly. You're right in this one. Calls him a hillbilly. And AJ basically says it's competition. He's all about competition, and it starts now. Heads to the ring. They brawl at ringside. Jarrett kind of cuts him off. Red shirts come down. Callis comes down, attacking AJ. He fights them off. AJ, I think there's a chair. I think he hits a chair on Jarrett. He slams AJ with a chair at this point, and then he threatens Sting. You know, Sting's going to be your fate while the red shirts continue to beat AJ. And then Abyss comes out.
This is awesome.
But Abyss, Jay, comes in from the door he left from when he brawled with Kash on the outside. And this is brilliant.
The crowd is popping for Abyss.
This is so good, though. Like, the continuation of that storyline in person. Like, and you can tell the crowd appreciates it, too. Like, this moment is really good. Really good.
The continuity of having Abyss come in from the outside.
And so when they left the ring, right, to follow him out, when he was looking for him, it was a continuous cam all the way out into a segment, right?
Right.
And then when they come back in here, the camera's in the same position, and then they run it back to the ring. It's so good.
That.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
that
good.
shit.
Yeah,
that's the kind of shit that is missing today. I swear, that kind of little shit, man. I'm marking over 20 fucking years later. I am like, I love that the camera is it's a continuous shot. It's like that. And you know what? Today, they'd make it where he comes out with this music just to get the fucking music pop. It's like, no, he was outside. As far as I know, he's still beating Kid Kash's ass outside. That's all I need to fucking know. And he heard shit going on, and that's why he ran in. That's how it should happen.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So well done.
He smelled. You know what he smelled? He smelled a callus.
He did. And Callis, this is great. So he takes out, he brawls a little bit, makes a save. I think he has, is it Wilson, not Northcutt, right? He has Wilson in the shock treatment. Callis is like, I'll put you down. Was it Northcutt? He's like,
Northcutt.
Oh, it was Northcutt. Okay.
It was Northcutt because I remember seeing the long hair hanging. Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, don't you do it. You do it and you're out of here. And he looks at him and he just does it anyway, the shock treatment. And then he chases Callis. I thought it was such a good moment. Great moment for Abyss. A little weird with what happens later, but we'll get to that.
This was a really well booked and timed segment for the length of it and how many people were involved. Can't even imagine. I don't know anything about production. You could speak obviously way more to this, Trent, but the cues for this had to have been perfectly timed for this many people.
It's not easy.
This long.
I will tell you guys, it's not easy. But
you got somebody coming in from outside without you've got to be using a headset for that cue to get Abyss back in, right?
Telling you, man, there's somebody
outside.
It's just the timing. Yeah, you have to have communication to him. Everybody, Callis, red shirts, everybody. Think about this: when Abyss comes in, everybody has to be in proper position because he's going after the red shirts at this point. I mean, this is a different level of professional wrestling. You know?
AJ's in the crowd. He starts in the crowd with a live mic.
Oh man, this is so well done.
Awesome.
So well done. So after we get a little calm down from that, we go to Scott Hudson in the back with Father James Mitchell. And basically talk, he's like, you're not a wrestler. How are you going to do this? He's like, do not underestimate what my mind can do. Now, my beef here, and I'll talk about this later. And I love Jim Mitchell, as everybody knows. He's a friend of mine. I love the guy. But him dressed up in like street clothes.
I love this.
Did you like that?
Oh, dude. Okay. His character has always been very Luciferian in look.
Right. That's why it was weird to me.
When the devil's playing human games, he's not going to look like the devil.
Oh,
so
is that the idea?
He just walked out of Chess King. I fucking loved it, man. I thought he looked dope. And obviously,
I mean, he looked cool. Don't get me wrong.
Obviously, he blades later. Well, Raven blades him brutally by the stairs. is what I'm assuming was going on there. And then, the white comes into play. But
you just knew what was going to happen to that white shirt.
Oh, yeah.
J-Bo, did you ever dress like that? Like Chess King? Did you ever shop at Chess King back in the day?
I didn't shop at Chess King, but I know I had a shirt or two that looked like that. So I had to chuckle because I was like, oh my God, this is so straight out of this time frame. It's like what was real popular around this time was that. And then they had like the 8 balls with the flames on it. Dude, shirts like
I mean, this is very O3.
AJ Cash, all your high flyers on this episode are wearing seashell necklaces.
Oh,
the
man.
Chokers, the seashell chokers.
It's so 2003, man. I can't even tell you.
Oh, yeah.
But awesome. Jim Mitchell was, I was like, it's weird to see him in regular clothes.
I loved it.
Even when I saw him in Nashville last October, he doesn't dress in regular clothes. He's Luciferian. He's wearing a suit and a dress shirt. Dude, he looks like the devil walking out of like Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
kayfabe, daddy.
He's great.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember Jim Mitchell, from what I remember, was originally trained to be a wrestler. He only ever had a match though, but he was trained by the fabulous Moolah, I want to say. Trained at Moolah School.
Had a match on this episode.
He had a match on this episode. Now, this is, I think, when TNA later says it's his first match, I think that's legit. But we go from that to, okay, this is probably the roughest match on the card, though. Shane Douglas versus Sandman.
This was terrible.
This was bad. I love Shane Douglas. I love the franchise.
This was terrible.
Sandman was all over the place on this. This was, Jay, this was bad. This was bad.
It's an ugly match.
Even the finish was botched. What the hell happened with the finish? But go ahead, Jay.
Well, one of your favorites shows up.
Well, yeah, we talk about
you'd
that.
really enjoy that.
I love that. I love the fact. Yeah, Tracy Brooks she joins the franchise. She's part of the group.
Yeah,
she's pie in the sky on the Sandman.
See, I actually enjoy this match because there are moments in this match, like everybody thinks of Sandman. Walks around, kendo stick, cracks a beer, busts open, walks to the other set of bleachers, looks around, snarls, drinks more beer, busts his head some more, eventually makes his way down to the ring 10 minutes later. Dude,
it's a perfect recap.
Taker, eat your fucking heart out. Seriously, who had the longest entrance in wrestling? Sandman.
Yeah. Legendary.
Yeah,
seriously.
And people pop the whole fucking time because they got to drink beer with the Sandman and smoke God knows what else. And take a breath. And so I like this because there were moments in this match where Sandman was legit giving it to Shane Douglas and wrestling him. It's like, because you remember all the nostalgic, goofy beer drinking, cigarette smoking, cussing, kendo stick smashing stuff, but then you forget how he's actually a decent wrestler here. And like the second half of the match showed that, like he was doing shit over the top rope, like, oh my God, yeah, the guy's wrestling here. So I actually enjoyed this. And then Tracy Brooks comes in, I should say returns.
Yeah, it was a return for her. Let's remind that.
I wrote down returns, and she, I forget what she did to Sandman. She went off the top rope or something, didn't she? She hit him with a crossbody or leg drop or whatever it was.
She did. Well, she did her pie in the sky, which is
it. The pie. Okay, yeah, that's what. Yeah, they called it.
Seated
the pie
fucking.
In the sky.
Yeah.
Let the pie in the sky returneth, or whatever they said. Yeah. So yeah, but then she's going up the ramp, and she is just all over Shane Douglas, like, woof, lifting the leg up and smooching on the cheek, and grabs the mic and says, "I'll do anything to protect this franchise." It's like, oh, see you in the locker room. Lady.
Why can't that be me? Yeah. No, it's good, but the match, like the finish was fucked.
Oh my God!
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I don't understand what happened. Did Sandman not know he was Was he maybe not supposed to kick out of that
I don't
first
think he was
belly to
supposed
belly?
to. I don't think he was
Okay.
supposed to.
And then Douglas gets visibly angry, picks him up again, looks like gives him a stiff one, and then bellies him again, and then pins him.
Yeah.
But
That could be just a miscommunication, but it's
maybe
just
so.
it's an exclamation point to, you know, it could be both. Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea. I will say this. Unfortunately, this run for the franchise is not nearly the quality of run that Raven is having in the company. So I'm not particularly enjoying this run. We haven't really seen anything from Shane that even really resembles the strength of his old stuff that I'm familiar with, which is not like a ton, but I'm not loving this stuff.
Yeah, dude. I love Shane, but this is just something about this isn't working. I hope as we get along with the franchise story, something gets more going here, right? Yeah. But right now, it's not happening.
It hasn't had any real reason to care. Like, we haven't been given a reason to care. He's been given 2 1-minute promo or video packages backstage or 30 seconds, you know, and before that, he's kind of been out for a while because after his feud with Raven, he disappeared for a little bit, right? We didn't see the franchise for a bit.
Couple weeks, then they pop back up with those vignettes.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it's not clicking yet for sure.
Yeah, not yet. It's maybe, like I said, maybe the storyline now this will do it. We'll see. Right now we're rough, but back to Scott Hudson, and they did not turn the lights on from the Raven promo here because Jimmy Hart's also in the darkness for some reason. So
well, it's from another angle though.
It is, but they didn't.
Like the Raven promo, the red lights coming down on an angle. Yeah. This one, the red lights coming like up at him. It's like the same but different. So yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah. Talking Sting, hyping the match. It's still hyping Bound for Glory now. He mentions Bound for Glory is only a couple weeks away, baby. So they're still talking Bound
I really
for Glory.
like the Jimmy Hart voice.
Oh, I love it. Now, basically, what it sounds like is that they're shifting it to Sting. Right? Like, this is officially, the feel is like we're going to shift this Bound for Glory thing to Sting. Which, again, I don't think it happens. But we'll see. So he starts doing the, why? Come on, why, Jeff? Why'd you do it? Why? And then in the blended why comes Sting. This was great. He's like, why? I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. All right, I liked it. Sting's really fired up, which I loved here. He's like super excited, like he's very, and I will say this, I don't think I've ever seen Sting phone it in. And I mean, I'm sure he's had his off days, but I feel like Sting is always on. Like he's always does what he can, you know, given what he's to work with. So looks really fired up. It got me excited to see him later because he seemed very excited, you know, with the face he made. It's showtime, folks, and all that shit. So I do like that. Next match, Sonny, Siaki, Ekmo, and Trinity. Trinity looking good with that cowboy hat, Mark. You like that? Huh?
Yeah.
Taking on AMW, James Storm and Chris Harris.
Trinity could put on like I don't know, pillow sack. I'd be like, I did like one thing I caught with this. Fatu's shirt says Fatu really big letters in the back, but for some reason the U is very spaced out. So a lot of times it just looks like the word fat. You notice that too? Yeah.
Like all you're catching is the glimpse of it just saying fat.
This was, you know, gear was different back then, man. It wasn't like as sophisticated as it is now.
It's weird. Like the U was just like spaced away. And I'm like, all I kept catching on camera was fat.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I noticed that too.
It's not a bad match. It just didn't connect.
I'm with you.
That's what I wrote down in my note. What do you think, Jay?
I actually see the wonkiness to me. What looked like it should have been wonky actually came through to be as in. And I was telling Mark this right before we went live. I said this whole episode is eerily similar to what's going on in the company today. The tag division is all over the place with new tag teams put together, you know, made up tag teams. The X division is going through a new chapter. You're seeing some new people. The main title card, the heavyweight title card, is has a lot of contenders or who could be contenders lined up. And I was like, wow. Like, so different parts of the show was like, kept reminding me of what we've been watching the last several weeks right now. So, but no, I looked at this and because I'm pumped for this. I don't know how long he sticks around, and I don't think it's very long anymore after this, but I'm pumped for this Ekmo Fatu run. As much as the whole Siaki thing seems a little out of whack lately, kind of thrown all over the place. But I was actually excited for this win that they had against AMW. Of course, it's just still AMW fighting to get back towards, Diamond and Swinger.
Yeah.
And then some other stuff, hits the fan later. But no, I like this. And, Trinity's all over the place here.
She's all over the place on this.
And she comes out with Siaki and Fatu, but the whole match she's acting like she's not with them, just kind of like I'm not with I'm with them, but I'm really not with them. I'm not enjoying this. I don't know why I'm here. And then the psychology of acting like she's actually helping Harris, and then Harris looks at the chair. I love this part of the match.
She slid the chair into him. Yeah.
She slid the chair, what looks to be like Fatu, but he was turned around. He didn't see the chair, but Harris is right there. So he's looking at the chair and he keeps looking down at her and then looking around like,
and she's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way he's looking around at the crowd, like, should I pick it up? Like, he doesn't straight up say, should I pick? But his eyes looking at the crowd like, oh, I don't normally do this, but should I this once?
Bite the apple.
What do you think? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm such a sucker for like the face asking the crowd, should I do this bad guy thing? Yeah. Should I do the bad guy thing and use the chair? Like, what do you? And they're like, yeah, do it. He's like, really? Yeah. I love that.
You'll totally win if you do. And then out of nowhere, when you start putting all this together and you start figuring out, oh no, she fucked you, dude. She just fucked you. And because friggin' David Young comes in with the racket. That damn racket.
That hollow sounding empty racket.
Hey, it was a smooth sequence though.
Was.
He slid in and went whap and slid right back. And it was a slide pop.
Yep. Into
Harris
the
down. It was that finishing sequence was like crisp as shit. The way David Young just slide in, hit him.
Here we go. Go ahead, Trent. David Young. Keep going. David Young.
What about it?
Keep going.
David Young slid in, popped him, slid right back out.
Number one fan.
I love David Young. Siaki pins Harris, and they get the win on this. So finally they get a win at least.
Big win for these guys.
It's a huge
win. Doesn't matter
how
it came. Huge win for them.
Because there was a bunch of weeks in a row where they were messing with other people like Doring and the angry Amish. What was that?
Roadkill.
Roadkill. Thank you. An angry Amish guy. Didn't they make a series out of that shit? And then, anyways, but yeah, they absolutely needed this because there's no reason a beast like Ekmo Fatu should be in this company and losing all the time. That's just damn. No, you don't do that to someone like him. Yeah. Especially if you want to keep him around, man. You push the shit out of a guy like that.
Yeah.
And then you break him out into a singles run and oh no, wait, he's going back to WWE. Fuck.
I thought there was nothing for him here, like to break out with. They just didn't have a run for him here. And there was too much going on. We go to the back with Scott Hudson and Glenn Gilberti, Johnny Swinger, and Simon Diamond, who, by the way, thank you to Simon Diamond, always putting over our show. Whenever we mention that he's on an episode, he always retweets, always gives a little quote ski. So thank you, Simon, for that. Do you catch Swinger? Something Swinger did here was very reminiscent of Swingman today. Did you catch this? Because they're talking about the win that their boys got, And you see, if you look at Swinger here, you know, he's fucking.
You guys swing?
He's doing his like he's doing the fist
Oh,
clench thing.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing it in this. He's like, yeah, they got
Nice.
the win. I'm like, holy shit, it started then. You know, like
Nice.
so he was doing it.
God, I love that he's still in the company.
I
It's
love it.
crazy that we can still talk about him in a current context. How I bet nobody saw that coming. Like,
No,
that he'd be still with the company and everyone else would be gone.
he's doing that. Young comes in and he's like, am I in? Did I make it? And they're like, are you in? You're in. And they're like hugging him. He's like, all right. He goes, well, part one's done. He goes, part two of the plan. We're on to part two, huh, Glenn? He's like, part two. What are you talking about? He goes, no, part two is me and you take on 3 Life Crew. He's like, that's part two of the plan tonight. And he's like, wait, what? He's like, no, come on. It's part two. He's like, no, you idiot. He's like, no, come on. He's like, oh man. So like Glenn has to team with David Young now. Not happy about it. And
I love that's the one thing I wrote down is like, this is part one of my 2-part plan. It's what?
It's like, it's what?
It's
I like how Diamond.
it's the David Young redemption story.
It's great. The best of David Young.
I like how Diamond closes the segment. He's like, we don't wrestle losers, and AMW are losers. He looks at Hudson. He's like, you want to go for a drink? And Hudson's like, yeah. And then they just like walk
Let's
off
go for a drink.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, what?
People remember Simon Diamond was a agent for TNA for many, many years after this. Long time. So big part of the company. Like he's family with the company. You know, he stays on as an agent. Him and D'Lo actually both did. And so he's gone now, but he was there for a while. He's a real estate
D'Lo
agent now.
Brown also still a current name
Also
with the
there.
company.
Okay. One of you guys clear this. All right. So the next thing is the Michael Shane X Division Invitational, right? Phase 1 is a battle royal. It's a 3-week deal. Now, from what I understand, phase 1's a battle royal. Phase 2 is the people who whoever eliminated the guy in the battle royal has to fight each other on phase 2. Is that right? I lost the kind of breakdown here.
I think I was even.
Well, then we'll just take it as it comes on week to week. But this is a battle royal. From what I understand, though, the order of elimination determines your rank in the X division or something. Is that
I knew this was going to come up.
Did you write this down? Did you break this down?
No, I got one better.
What you got?
Right there.
Oh, smart man.
Nice.
Did you did that because you knew this would come up?
I knew this was going to come up because
Genius.
I had to watch this back like 3 times. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I love you, J Bone. This is why J Bone is J Bone, guys. This is why he is the guy. He is the guy today. Good job,
Awesome.
J Bone. You have really
Excellent.
done it. You have really done
Which
it.
one's Jay?
This one's Jay.
The
He
goat.
did it.
That one's Jay.
Okay, so break it down, Jay. Break it down. Go ahead.
So you got the battle royal, and that's what this first match is battle royal. It's 8 X Division stars. Now, TNA confuses the shit out of me later, and I'll get into that. But because what they talk about later is the number 2 part as this battle royal starts to break down the top seeded matches. So you get the elimination of number 2 going up against number whatever
5, I think?
3 versus 4, and yeah, it's I forget exactly how it is because like at the end it's like Christopher Daniels versus Loki. I'm like, okay, so 5 and 6, but then he says Sabin versus Chad Collyer, and I'm like, and then I'm looking at my thing, and I'm like, okay, so 4, 5, 6, and 7 all have matches against each other. So number 4 versus number 7 elimination. So 5 versus 6 number elimination, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what about like 2 and 3 and whatever?
So I think 1 and 2 are in automatically or some shit. Like it was
something
very
like
confusing here. Yeah.
Something like that. I forget. But what's interesting about this, there was a little a mild spoiler in the Discord, the people talking about the throwback getting ready for today. Someone said X and in parentheses put PCO, and I'm like, X PCO. I'm like, what the? I'm like, I know PCO's in Ring of Honor. I'm like, is he in here? And so then we get to this match, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, X, and I'm like, oh, his name in the match is X, and he's got like a giant X in his match.
It's
he's got
a cheesy look.
Oh my god!
giant,
This is whose idea was this?
And I was like, wait a minute, I think I've seen this before. And I don't remember if I saw like a clip of this like way back then, or if I saw this like a couple years ago, looking up stuff on PCO when he really got back into the mainstream of things. You know, when he caught the public's eye a couple WrestleCons ago, and then got signed with Ring of Honor and really started getting back into the spot, you know, the indie spotlight, and kind of reviving his career. And I was like, wait a minute, I think I've seen this before, either back then or within the last few years. But this match looked oddly familiar because his outfit, like, I recognized it for some reason. So I saw it at some point. I don't remember when.
Yeah, it was weird. I wrote down when he came out, I was like, that's got, I wrote my notes, is X PCO? And I'm like, that looks like PCO. And I looked it up, and it was.
You picked him out that quick on the ramp?
Right away. I was like, wow. Is X PCO? Because like I saw his face, you know, and I'm like, that looks like PCO.
Yeah, the mask had like no lower half, right?
Yeah,
big eyes.
It was just so weird. I'm like, they throw this random big giant dude, you know?
Yeah.
So let me break down the participants. It's low key, Chris Sabin, Sonjay Dutt, Shark Boy, Johnny Storm, Chad Collyer, Chris Daniels, and X. So how many is that? 1, 2,
it's
3.
8.
It's 8. Okay.
Yeah.
8 guys. Chad Collyer, by the way, I was a huge fan. He did a lot of indies here in Chicago. Jay, we could take this graphic down, Jay, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
He did a lot of indies. I think Mark. I hope he didn't lose power. I think Mark was having some. There was a lot of rain in Houston and shit. So hopefully he hasn't lost power.
Yeah, he's got some storms right now. Maybe he just ducked out for a second.
Yeah. So Chad Collyer was awesome. He's did a lot of indies. I see him all the time on the early 2000 indies. He was a very good wrestler. Very like not much of a personality, but great. We're trained by Dean Malenko, as Mike today pointed out. I don't have the order of elimination here. I don't think it matters, but X at the end eliminates Sabin to win this whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's number 1 is Johnny Storm, who is a return from Europe. We saw him a few months ago.
Yes, he's coming. This is his comeback to
from the UK, I should say. So a very young Johnny Storm, because we later see him a couple years ago when was it the last time that Impact actually went to Europe for a few shows?
Yes, that's right.
I think, yeah,
he was on there. Yeah.
They wrestled. LAX wrestled Johnny Storm and someone else. I forget. It's some infamous tag team from the UK.
And it was a good match. I remember Johnny Storm could still go. Yeah.
Oh, they tore it up. Yeah. And someone in the chat will put it in there. I'm sure they'll remember it. But yeah, number 1 was Johnny Storm. Number 2 was Shark Boy. Number 3. Sonjay Dutt. Number 4, Chad Collyer. Number 5, Christopher Daniels. Number 6, Low Key, it's interesting watching these two here because they were actually working together for a while, former Triple X partners, and then they turned on each other by the end of the match. So that was interesting. And Sabin is the last elimination from X. But
yeah.
X just dominates this. Dude, he reminds me in this match of like someone like Brian Cage when he was in the X division. Just
I thought the same thing.
The shit out of people, yeah.
Booked the same way too. Yep.
Totally.
Same thing.
Yep.
Totally.
Same idea, man. I thought
I like PCO better.
PCO was awesome. I think it's great.
Yeah,
what?
Of the very, very tiny bit of ROH I've seen was when he won the title and had that run, and I actually thought he was super cool. I loved his matches. They were like old school as fuck type.
His
matches.
resurgence has been amazing.
Yeah.
The stuff he puts himself through is ridiculous.
Oh man, he had like that match where he won. This all I know this is not a TNA talk, but man, if you haven't seen the match where he wins the belt, it's worth looking up. Like I went out of my way to find it. I thought so. It's just the moment. You know, wrestling's all about moments, and you can just feel that moment. It was a good one. I liked it.
Dude, he was great. He's great, man. The resurgence and the videos he did with that Giancarlo dude are amazing. Which got that Giancarlo guy hired by WWE, actually. Those like vignettes.
Really?
Yeah, that guy got stolen away quick from the indies. He was an independent guy. They're like, holy shit, you basically rebuilt PCO with these fucking shock treatment videos and shit, you know?
Yeah.
And they hired him. Yeah, they stole him away fast.
Wow.
So, but no, it was cool. PCO is X, if anybody wondering. We go right to the back again with Scott Hudson. He is all over this episode, Jay. All over. Don Callis.
Single segment. Every segment.
My God. Don Callis talking Abyss. He denies knowing Abyss. Basically, actually doesn't know him. Talks Piper. Talks about how Piper won't do anything. Just basically addresses his current stuff going on. The red shirts come up and go, I know where he is. I know where he is. He's like, guys, really? I know where Scott Hudson's like, who? So we don't get the who on this and who that is. But the red shirts just allude to somebody. I know where he is. Then we go to Piper filming a vignette by a hospital sign. And he addresses Hogan. He addresses all of his current stuff. Jarrett, like just NWA. I loved it because it felt so real. It just felt real.
Yeah, his opening line was, just this morning I got up and took a good Vince. Right there, I was like, he had me from almost the get.
Piper always was the most believable guy because he was that guy where I'm like, this might be fake, but that fucking guy's real. That's the guy. Because I'm like, you watch the documentary, the A&E one, and some other documentaries. You know, he was constantly living just a conflict in his own head at all times. Like this guy really was always trying to prove something to himself. So it's always real to Rowdy Piper. It's a very underrated little segment. It's short, but man, it's like, I don't know why it hit me. It stuck with me, this one. I was like, man, this is really deep.
Might be their realistic sound too. They needed a laugh mic or something out there because it was really windy.
Yeah, it just felt real. It felt like they caught him walking. They're like, hey, give us your thoughts on this. And he did. You know, it didn't seem scripted, just something about it seemed very authentic. And I love that.
Well, yeah, there was no color. It was black and white.
Yeah.
And out of everybody in wrestling, if someone's in a promo, no matter how much charisma or energy they have, you got to look into the camera and make everybody on the other side of that camera, make them believe that if they're pissed off, you're going to send so-and-so to the hospital, you got to make them believe it. How many people in wrestling can you say, you know, on the other side of the camera, make them believe that you believe them? And Piper is one of those few people. If Piper says he's going to send someone to the hospital, oh, dude, fill in the blank is going to die.
Fill in the blank.
He's all out of bubble gum.
Vacant is dead.
Yeah.
We go next to the matches. 3 Live Crew taking on Disco and David Young. Glenn Gilberti and David Young. I love, anybody catch the Herb Tarlick reference in this? The WKRP in Cincinnati reference in this? No?
Oh, is that who that is?
I
heard that. I didn't know who that was.
I haven't seen WKRP since it was on midnights when I was like 10, and I don't remember it at all. Ted Knight was on it. That's all I remember.
You could tell
Ted McGinley too, right?
Yes. You can tell that Tanay kind of like gave that little like, I don't think anybody's going to get that reference, Don, like chuckle. I did. Because he's like, you know what, this reminds me of Herb Tarlick. And I was like, holy shit, WKRP. Like, I wrote down in capital letters, Posey sucks. Mike Posey is terrible officiating this match.
Yeah.
3 Live Crew wins after some light shenanigans. It was just like nothing happened. The refereeing was terrible.
Match was pretty forgettable.
It was very forgettable. Diamond Swinger come in, attack 3 Live Crew. America's Most Wanted comes in to help. A&W claims that they should get the belts. They should, at one point, Storm even puts the belt around his waist. Did you catch this?
No.
Storm even puts the belt. Yeah, he puts it around. I'm like, hey, come on, slow down here. Like,
yeah, you can just pick up a belt and find it. That'd be silly. You can't just find a belt and claim you're the champion.
They're claiming.
Who does that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, wait.
They're claiming that they're the guys who should get the title shot. 3 Live Crew stops. I like how BG kind of stepped in. It's like, no, it's us. We just won the match. Like, you guys lost today. We won. It should be us. Siaki and Ekmo come out and say, no, it's us. And then Glenn Gilbert's like over. He's like, I can't handle this right now. I'm too overwhelmed. I can't do this.
And Don West is like, what a mess this tag division has become. It's like, no shit.
That is what, when West said that, triggered me.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Us looking at the tag division recently, like, wow, what are they doing? There's all these new teams, and we lost so many teams, and they're just kind of like putting a few things together. Yeah, it's so eerily similar to today, but they make it work. They make it work.
This seems like a good spot to mention that we're all still huge Reno Scum fans too, and that we wish, Reno Scum the best of fortunes. I'm going to bring that up every episode until they come back to Impact.
I love Reno Scum. Yeah, honestly, dude, I hope they end up somewhere if it's on Impact. Like, can somebody fucking hire them? Because
who doesn't want a ready built, badass, unique looking tag team with a true life? Like, Luster's got to be a 7-footer. Thornstow's great ring general, awesome on the mic. Like, what the hell, dude? Somebody, why the fuck aren't Reno Scum signed somewhere?
I don't understand it whatsoever.
What a mistake.
Great team. Like, they look awesome. They have a gimmick, a look. We could tangent this. But you're right. It's kind of like they're at least making it work here, which I like. They're at least giving it some shine to be like there's something focusing. They're trying to do something with this.
At least there are now enough storylines that it's believable that this many teams are contending for the titles.
Yes.
Because it was just AMW smashing people for a
long time.
Anybody legitimate. It was just AMW. At least now these guys all feel like they could make a case to some degree of why they should be in that ring.
Because they all have wins. Think about this. AMW has a bunch of wins leading up to this episode. Disco and 3 Live Crew just won. Siaki and Ekmo won earlier tonight. So they're all like, wait a minute, we all got wins in the win column here. All the teams here.
And Siaki and Ekmo, besides that win that they just got this episode, they still feel like Diamond and Swinger and Disco all owe them.
Yes.
Like, hey, we're taking care of all these other people for you. You owe us.
That's right. That's right.
So there's that. So
there is that exactly. So keep all that in mind. Get a Rave in a New Church recap. Little video. The music is Michael Graves, former lead singer of the Misfits. It's a solo song, and I love Michael Graves' solo shit. I should use the Michael Graves song for this. I'm sure he did not get credited for this.
Yeah, pretty sure probably not.
Did you guys catch something in this? They were doing highlight little recap videos and clips. There's a clip of Jim Mitchell running away last week.
Yeah.
And like he's like, you know how to hotwire a car? He's like, oh shit. That didn't air on the show last week.
I don't think so.
I would have remembered that. That did not air, right? Like they added this in here.
Yeah,
I'm sure they filmed it, but they didn't put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
him trying all the doors running down the block, looking over his shoulder.
I didn't remember that either.
It was a great little clip, and I'm like, that did not air on last week's show. That was, they probably cut it, but they didn't, or they probably recorded, but they cut it from the scene last week.
Jim Mitchell has to be one of the most enjoyably consistent presences in wrestling over the last 3 decades. Like, he's not always a significant player, but he's always enjoyable. Whether he's, he was almost the main event here. Like, that's
true.
Think about that.
My main baby.
Like, this is the weirdest thing I have ever seen Jim Mitchell do, and Jim Mitchell only does weird shit. So this was awesome. I fucking loved this. This was so much fun. He did a great job in this. I loved this match. Like, I wasn't expecting the length. I wasn't expecting Mitchell to get any sort of offense. I wasn't expecting Mitchell to be this competent. And I wasn't expecting to like this match so much. You guys, was it just me?
Oh, I loved it. So we're talking about Jim Mitchell versus Rave, and this is the final stage.
Sorry.
That goes right into that. It goes right into that. So yeah, Raven is super cool here, by the way, and Mitchell is super bloody. That's what I wrote down.
Oh my god, he blades a minute and a half in.
He's bleeding. I mean, J-Bone, this is like prom night for you and your date. I mean, this is bleeding everywhere. Like this.
Well, did you see it? Like, so
what did I just say?
I missed that. Damn it!
You missed that. I said Mitchell's bleeding. I said J-Bone, this is like you and your date on prom night. This is unbelievable. What is going on here?
Dear God, it's the complete opposite.
Mark was petrified.
I'll tell you about it, but it's a little.
Mark left. I think I scared him away. Holy shit!
It's a fucking weird show, man. Holy shit!
Wow, is that thunder by you?
Oh, my whole house is shaking.
That's why he just flipped out there for a second.
What the?
How did you do that?
He's out. And Mark was taking that thunder knocked Mark out, guys. Holy crap!
Yeah, there's some nasty storms rolling around Mark right now. So hopefully he'll be back.
But talk about this, Jay. This was so we're off the semi-main here, guys. Almost done here. Yeah, go ahead, talk about it.
So this is the weird part of they call this a last man standing match. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I can't figure out, because they don't do a lot of last man standing matches in NWA-TNA. I think there was like one other one. And what I forgot is they do them different from other federations, other companies, as in you have to get the pin first, and then they do the 10 count once you get the pin.
Right.
Because Mitchell goes for the pin on Raven at one point because he's just beating the tar out of him with the chain. They're going back and forth. There's blood everywhere. And he goes for the pin. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, I thought this was a last man standing. Why is he going for the pin? Is there a lack of communication? Did he not know? Did he forget? And then Raven goes for the pin on Mitchell later. And then immediately goes into the 10 count, which is like, 5 seconds later, they're done. And I was like, oh, that's right. They got to pin him for the 1, 2, 3 first. And then they earn the 10 count. So you got to like beat them.
Old school. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that old school? Like,
yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Because that was the idea. No, actually, I'm sorry. You're right. That's the new school version. Because the old school, you're right. The old school version was knock the guy out. He can't get up.
Down 10 count. Yeah.
Right. This is kind of the newer version where you pin him and he has 10 to get up.
That's still, I guess maybe it's different for the sake of being different.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. They kind of added that other caveat to it.
I just forgot. So I'm like, what the?
But Mark, you love this one, right? You like Mitchell's. I didn't like Mitchell dressing like this, but you broke it down pretty well earlier. I like.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. I thought it fit his character, and the man knows his character. I'm sure it was on purpose.
Oh, 100%.
He's just so in tune with that character. I also was interested that we got to see so much of the Raven blading Mitchell. It's from behind, but when they go by the stairs, right? Did you guys notice this?
I didn't get
Mitchell's dead. So Mitchell rolls out, blades himself, and he's bleeding a little bit. He goes over by the stairs. Raven hits his head into the stairs.
No, it's like this.
And then Raven's standing behind him, holding Mitchell's hair, blading his forehead, and then he puts Mitchell in the ring. Mitchell rolls over, gets up.
Oh.
You can see the opening in his forehead, and it's just gushing.
That's revenge for the fucking carving he did, right?
Yeah. So this is a minute and a half in. This match goes a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I don't know how long it went, but
about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was going to guess that too. So Mitchell works this entire match like that. This is a guy who's not a wrestler, doesn't have in-ring experience, is probably not used to wearing a crimson mask. I mean, I'm sure he's bladed before, but not like this. This is like Flair level shit here, Raven level shit. I guarantee you he's hurting. He was probably scared he's bleeding bad. Overall, I adored this match. I liked the psychotic. This is exactly the moment I wanted the hanging,
the
like
buildup was phenomenal to this. Yeah.
Man, as far as I'm concerned, this entire Raven New Church story has been solid fucking gold.
And you got months out of it. That's my favorite part. By the way, I want to add real quick. Mirror points out a great point here, Jay. WrestleMania 10, Randy Savage versus Crush. It was a pin first 10 count to get up. So they did that too in WrestleMania 10, 94.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I wasn't watching by then.
But no, you're right, Mark. The build, because after this, Raven then hangs Mitchell. You get the revenge. He hangs him now. Yep. Security comes to break it up. Gets on the mic, threatens Jarrett back in the title hunt. Might fulfill my destiny is back. All that shit. We're back on track with here. I love it. I'm like, holy shit, we're fucking getting back to Raven here. All right. The gathering's out there. And he's like, I love you guys. Thanks for doing what you did. But it's time to set you free. And I walk alone. It's just time for you guys to go. Like, it's just, I told you not to do, I didn't need anything, but no harm, no foul. Just time to go. And then Punk begs him not to walk. Raven, no. Please, boss. Raven, no. Boss, please. Boss. Don't do this, Raven. And then that was it. But go back to the match, Mark. Like, it was awesome. It was fun as shit just to see the story play.
If you're a fan of these two characters, if you've watched this show along with this, I think there's almost probably like no way you couldn't be. These two guys are both great workers. They're good at their jobs. This story has been all about storytelling. It's like the classic good versus evil. Mm-hmm. Hero fights through the villain's stable. He overcomes odds. His gang is infiltrated. He's separated. It's the divide and conquer.
It's great.
And it culminates here with like Mitchell really putting in the fucking work. I mean, if Mitchell's performance here isn't the performance of a lifetime, this feud is a failure. And he showed the fuck up. I loved this match because if you saw it in isolation in a vacuum, you'd be like, why is this dude from
why is the match?
King? Yeah, why is this Chess King dude fighting this dude? But if you know it in the context of the whole story, then you appreciate it for what it is, which is great storytelling. And Jim Mitchell should be commended for the job he did here and the beating that he took.
Yeah.
He made it happen.
Great
job. There was no shenanigans from any other members of the church.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Mitchell went 10 minutes one-on-one with Raven, bleeding like a stuck pig the whole time. Just brilliant performance.
I'm telling you, it's underrated, man. It reminded me a lot of the Bill Alfonso bloodbath. You know that one?
Oh yeah,
that's and so it's like non-wrestler, but dude, he did it. He showed up and he culminated that story as it needed to be done.
This is one of those really memorable non-wrestler in-ring performances.
If you can, Mark, if you have a chance tomorrow when you're get a screenshot of like a bloody Jim Mitchell. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to put that out. I'd like to tweet it out and just tag Jim and be like, hey, like we major props on this story, not just the match, but the story that led, like you said, if you were watching it with us, you saw this play over 2 months. Like the build to this, get Raven constantly getting fucked every week, hung and fucked over and
the shaving thing, like
that started it. The shaving basically started it, right? That kicked it all off.
Well, I mean, it had been going on before.
You're right. It's been going on. You're right.
That was the collapse. That was the thing. You got this big build with Shane and the church and all this stuff that led up to the initial. Basically, what was it? What did he? I can't remember how he put it, but the deconstruction of Raven's character, both physical and emotional, which then set him on this path of redemption. Which now the culmination is he dismisses the gathering and moves on to the heavy. I mean, it's a full circle. It's classic storytelling. It's nothing new. It's just executed perfectly.
It is brilliant.
There's always room in wrestling for good for it. It's only good versus evil. That's every story almost. That's why anti-heroes can only go so far for so long, because you have to have clear sides in order to find clear investment. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, get a shot of both of them together. Like, I'd love to get Raven to chime in on
dudes. Yeah, these two dudes are fantastic.
They're so good.
Raven won't chime in on shit. He'd be like, "Why was I wearing a skirt? Why was I wearing a skirt there?"
He doesn't do any pods at all. But
sometimes he does his own.
He does his own once in a while. But but I'll tell you what, to me, the granddaddy, and we had Russo on, and he's a big part of that. The granddaddy of this is not even Dixie or Jared to me. It would be Raven to get an Asylum interview.
I wish.
Oh,
There's no way.
he won't do it. I know he won't
shit
do it.
myself.
But just to pick Raven's brain for an hour about the Asylum, like the story, what went into the psychology of the storytelling. I mean, I would lose my. If we could get Raven, I'd lose my shit because
I don't think I could even be on properly.
To me, he is the greatest to come out. He is the greatest in this Asylum era. Story wise, I mean, we're story guys here, right? You're a comic book guy.
Clearly is the best.
We love
era.
There's no better storyteller in the Asylum than Raven.
Yeah, no,
bottom line.
No. But Jim Mitchell would be the other, and they're working together.
He's the counterpoint to him, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's the foil.
He's the foil. Without Raven, without Jim Mitchell, there's no Raven. Equal playing ground here, no question about it. I mean, he needed the enemies. He needed those guys to purely tell the story too. But the new church, Jim Mitchell, even Jarrett to that degree, man. Jarrett was a great. He was a great opponent for him for that whole story.
And Raven's just been used so well this whole time outside of that one major misstep.
God, which I think is still a mistake.
It is.
God,
even everyone else.
Even if it was just a fucking week, just the fact that you put it on for that week would have been
just for that moment, because then you would have never been able to take that moment away. I mean, we discussed this last week. They posted it on Impact's socials recently, that moment. And the comments were nothing but people saying exactly what we say every week. Well, should have put it on Raven. Should have been
you
Raven.
Motherfuckers.
That's all it was. How did they miss that one? God damn.
If you get a picture of Mitchell, in my personal opinion, get a picture of Mitchell when he's completely bloodied, end of the match, sitting down next to the apron, ringside, leading up against the side of the ring, and just the spent face, covered in blood, complete crimson mask, shirt covered in blood, and just the defeated look. That's the perfect look of Mitchell, just losing this war. The end of the chapter is great.
Yeah, well, it was an exhausting story, an exhausting match, an exhausting feud. Why didn't we get Jim Mitchell on tonight for this?
I could have asked him tonight.
I mean, he follows all of us, interacts with all of us. Trent, I know you know him. We should have had this. I would love to talk to him just about this match. Match.
I want you to be on my ass next week to get him for next week. Be on my ass about it. All right. Reach out and we'll get him on.
Even if it's just for 10 minutes to talk about this match.
He has told me himself.
Or this feud with Raven bringing in. I want to hear at least one Vampiro story out of this.
Yes. He told me himself he would do it. I mean, verbally, he's like, let me know. We'll figure it out. So we'll get him. Be on my ass about it next week.
Zach, we're going to need you to remind us on Twitter that we said we were going to get Jim Mitchell on the program.
We go to Weston today. First time we go to them. So down west is, I guess, yellow on yellow or canary on canary, I guess. I don't know. Yellow on yellow. They're doing their hype for the main. And next week, Loki interrupts them and threatens Chris Daniels. Partners no more. Triple X is dead. I'm coming for you next week. So this is kicking off a fucking awesome feud.
Man, you didn't do your Loki impression.
Chris Daniels. Triple X is dead. Next week, you will feel my pain. That's the best thing.
Every time Loki opens his mouth, why? How? What? Are you sure? I keep expecting somebody to have their hand in his back, making his mouth move and shit.
Why don't you? He talks like when they have the overdubbed Japanese films, Chris Daniels. Why don't you tell me why?
If you're on audio, Trent is also doing Masterpiece Theater, Kung Fu Theater.
And I'll tell you what, the nurse loved Loki because they had a shtick at AAW when he was coming. He was doing he was dressed like the Hitman or the Transporter kind of gimmick.
How did he wrestle?
Blows my mind how he did that.
But he even wore dress shoes, right? Or was he wearing boots?
It might have been boots, but they were the pants were over him.
Yeah, it looked like loafers.
It looked like loafers.
Yeah, it looked like loafers. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, he didn't miss a step, but he had, Nurse and him had a shtick. She'd be front row before she was like wrestling, doing the nurse stuff backstage, and he would come around and she would always arrange his tie for him. So she would fix his tie. Like she'd always like just make sure he's good to go. It was like first time it happened, he came and was like, "How's my tie?" You know, and she's like, "Let's see it," you know, and they kept doing it for like 6 shows or something.
When he spoke to her for the first time, was she scared?
She was like, no, she loved him. She absolutely loved him.
She was like, the first time I heard, I can remember originally watching TNA and hearing him speak for the first time with my wife, and us both busting out laughing.
You don't expect that voice. I'm surprised he doesn't do a podcast. He's got a voice for fucking radio. Like it's like, this is low key with low key moments and whatever. Like just talking about his career or some shit. I don't know. All right, main event, guys. Let's do this. Jeff Jarrett versus Sting. The Metallica remix he comes out to is actually really cool here, by the way. It's like Jay, you catch this? This is different than the other one.
Totally. Yeah, it was like okay, did someone do this for like like WCW once? And because it sounded like
different than that one, even. It was even different than that one.
Yeah, I'm just saying it because they did that for a couple different people back in WCW. Like they did like the Nirvana mix, which it sounded like Nirvana, but it wasn't really Nirvana.
For DDP,
that's what this sounded like. It sounded like Metallica, but it wasn't really Metallica.
Right. But it was good.
Because the Metallica's back when Sting was in WCW, that was Metallica.
That was Metallica. Yeah, they ended up using actual Metallica for that. But it was cool. But the brawl, it was a wild brawl, like just a wild through the crowd. Actually pretty fun. I actually did like the brawl. It was just the crowd's eating this up. Like they're going nuts.
They could have come out and Sting could have taken a shit in the ring. And they were
wanted
pumped.
Him.
Yeah.
They were pumped for Sting.
Jack for Sting.
The end, though, I mean, as expected, tons of shenanigans. This is a shenanigan fest.
Ooh.
Here's what I got. You tell me if I miss anything. Okay. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of ref bumps and all that shit. Callis breaks Sting's attempt at a pin. Callis breaks it up. AJ and the red shirts run in. Abyss joins them. The back comes into play. Chaos. Sting, guitar, bat, all this shit going on. Smashing the guitar.
That was cool how it broke on the guitar.
They do that again in 06, Bound for Glory 06, and it's a phenomenal spot. But again,
remember that
in 06, they act like
seen it, but
they showed that clip, and in 06, they act like this will never happen. You know, like that's the thing. But the one in 06 is great. Sting's super ripped at that point. And they do the same thing, like the guitar breaks, he puts the bat up, it breaks right through.
Yeah.
Sting's fucking,
that was such a cool
Tarzan's
spot.
up.
Sting's so fucking cool. That's why we're all little stingers still.
We're all
little
stingers,
cool,
baby.
Man.
He's the shit.
Every version of Sting is fucking cool. I don't care. I don't care if you love Crow Sting or Server Sting or Go Joker Sting. It don't fucking matter to me. Sting is the man.
Which Sting did you all like best in the chat?
Snowball Sting.
Snowballs.
Which Sting did you guys like best in the chat? I'd love to hear who everybody liked the most. But yeah,
I think I know what's going to be. But we'll
probably
see.
Crow, I imagine.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
But yeah, like all that happened. I mean, DQ. It was like nothing happened. There was no finish to this. Yeah. Sting gets in the mic, says he'll be back next week.
I like how you said that. There was no finish, as if we all knew there was never going to be a finish to this.
Here. AJ's next to Sting because he's basically face at this point. He's like, I'll be back next week, only if you join me. It turns to AJ and he's like, oh yeah, you know. Jeff Jarrett's like, oh, you think you're the one with surprises around here? You know what? You think so? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, this and that. And he goes, well, I have a partner too. It's somebody you know really well, Sting. I'll be here next week and I'll have a partner. And it's Lex Luger.
I hope he has the bus, the Luger Express. Will he have the
Lex Express?
The Lex Express.
Sting looks a little shooketh, as that one meme says. Shooketh. He's a little shooketh here, and he's like, oh shit, Lex. And then they go off the air with that. So Luger making his debut here next week, which Luger doesn't have many matches, just a couple. I mean, I'm talking maybe 3 tops. But
this is when he's, and I actually had to look this up. I Wikipedia'd this because I was like, wait, 2003 is really a dark year because just a few months prior to this, it's either April or May or somewhere around there, Lex starts doing a little bit of jail time. gets arrested for this. Because when the mugshots all start coming out, and then a month later, Elizabeth is dead. So I was trying to remember. I was like, man, this is like really close to around the time that all this happened. So I'm like, how is the crowd? Because I think the crowd popped for the announcement of Luger.
They popped huge. Yeah.
And I was like, wait, did they just like in the midst of all this hype and Hogan and Sting and all this stuff, did they forget what happened just a few short months ago? And I mean, and I'm not throwing a lot on Luger for this, because I mean, obviously they're both, guilty for whatever happened, but I always looked at Luger like, okay, he didn't open up Elizabeth's mouth and force the stuff down her throat. That's how I always looked at it. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a really dark time in Luger's life, and he obviously, I've always thought that the man upstairs makes him pay for it years later with the whole, he's paralyzed and takes him years to come back even in a wheelchair. But, I was like, okay, well, maybe this audience still doesn't feel that badly about it.
No, because I remember Mach even came out and said like he didn't blame him. He goes, I don't blame Lex. So I mean, like I said, he didn't open her mouth and say, here, take the fucking painkillers, Right. I mean, she did it.
He didn't shoot her up. Yeah.
No. I mean, the case, and it happened in May of that year, May 1st. We're in November here. So
right around 6 months. Right around the corner.
So it just happened 6 months prior. But Luger, she died from the overdose in like the living room. He's upstairs. Apparently, when this happened, he finds her. We've all heard the call and everything. But they found the tox room was on her. But what he got in trouble for was they did a search of the house. They found like 13 other fucking drugs, like painkillers, HGH, all that kind of shit.
Right.
And he didn't go to jail for that. He was fined and he had probation. So, he didn't like people like the joke at the Lex Luger killed Miss Elizabeth. Like, no, he didn't. Like they were both doing drugs and she fucking OD'd. That's what
they were doing drugs together. I mean,
she OD'd.
You can be doing drugs with anyone and somebody can OD. That's how it works.
That's how it works. That's the risk you take.
Toxic relationship at its finest.
That's the risk you take.
You're together because you're miserable together. Misery loves company.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's what happens. So, you're right,
man. I joined this show of my own free will.
You did. But yeah, that's
just kidding. I love you guys.
but you're right. They pop for Luger. They want him there. It's gonna be interesting what's the reactions when he comes in.
They're really
Luger though.
Well, they lost Hogan and they were like, oh, fucking Steiner and Luger and fucking Sting and like fuck everybody, man. They grabbed everyone they knew they could get and brought them in.
As a fan, I didn't feel any lack at that point. I'm like, you're giving me fucking Sting, Luger, Steiner. I'm getting a lot.
I remember, I'm not going to lie, I do remember at the time being hot about it for a while, but then like forgetting about it. Back then, you didn't know what you know now in retrospect 20 years later, so I just knew it didn't happen. And I remember them like, advertising it and stuff and then being pissed it didn't happen. Like whenever Hogan was, healed up. But
they definitely threw what they could at this. And I commend them for trying to make up for it big time.
They really did. You can tell they threw a bunch of money out there and made a lot of phone calls and got everyone they could in to fill that void.
No doubt. So all for it, man. That's episode 69, dudes. I know I found what we were talking about 69ing. I found the Wild Stallions keychain I have.
Wild Stallions.
Look at that, Wild Stallions.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you can see that clearly, but it's the Wild Stallions. I got this from the theater when they go see Face the Music, the part 3, Bill and Ted. They gave us Brian and I, we got like the studio was there and they gave us like a promotional gift pack of shit. So I got like pins and everything. So it was cool.
Wow.
They were like, hey, the only 2 guys who turned out.
Yeah, it was like 6 people in here, So, but that's it, guys. That's 69. Interesting episode. A lot of heavy story on the big stories. The little stuff was really stayed the little stuff, but the major title stuff, X Division didn't really have much title wise, but they had to turn. So basically, everything revolving a title or a guest star had big moments. Everything else filled it in, kind of. So it's a good episode, though.
Look,
Definitely
put Mirror's comment up real quick.
Oh wow! So
we've been talking about this for a long time. So if you're on audio,
Mad Mikey,
Mirror's comment says that Michael Lockwood, aka Mad Mikey Crash Holly, died the next day after this. So we have seen our last Mad Mikey match vignette, promo.
That was with Shark Boy, wasn't it? That one. That when he had that last
the tag match,
tag match.
I think
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Something like that. Man, well, that was a great short run that I'm glad we got to celebrate. You know, everybody here knows for the most part the tragic story of Crash Holly as well.
Yeah, he dies the next day. You're right. November 6th.
32 years old. Is that right?
32? I mean, can you believe that, man?
I mean,
32?
Yeah, I feel glad we got to celebrate this little run here because it doesn't get the shine because it was so short and small and forgotten in the Asylum years. But he did put in some great work here. In my opinion, went out like at least his work on screen was memorable at the end.
He died at Stevie Richards' house. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
OD'd on somas and alcohol. Fucking shit, man.
Dude, this era of wrestling was brutal. The early 2000s. I quit watching, 2007, 8, something like that. Trailed off, and it was just getting too depressing.
You know what? I will say good for this. Molly Holly released a DVD talking about like her career, and the profits went to Michael Lockwood's daughter's college fund.
That's awesome. Molly Holly rules.
What a great woman that she. I never heard a bad thing about her.
So. No, never.
That's sad. Yeah, he was getting divorced and got depressed. That's
yeah, that's what I read. I remember reading something when he started appearing. I did a little Wikipedia, like, how much was he around, and then realized it's very short. He did like a dozen.
He did 9. It says he did 9.
Yeah.
He did 9 TNA, and his last one was October 1st, so about a month. About 4 weeks ago, we saw him last.
Yeah.
And that was
some of it was rare, and I think it even like aired only on Explosion and not on.
He had a lot of Explosion stuff.
Yeah.
His last match, interestingly enough, Mad Mikey and Rory Fox defeated Quentin Lee. I remember Quentin Lee. He used to wrestle in Chicago a lot, and the Human Time Bomb with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as a referee for HWA in Ohio. Yeah.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow. I love, again, going back and we all check out various different things. I learned so much tonight about, Mad Mikey and PCO and like whoever else we talked about. Yeah, just a bunch of interesting Lazz. For all you Lazz fans out there, we are now the repository of online Lazz information.
Somebody find him on fucking Twitter, man. So find Lazz.
Well, we know he was recently active, so
yeah, he was. I mean, he had a match this year. Go figure that shit out.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
That's the story, guys. That's where we're at. That's episode 69. So don't forget our show schedule. If you haven't liked the show, I liked it on YouTube and subscribe and everything, guys. Hit like real quick before you get out of here. Show schedule as follows: every Tuesday, throwback show, Time Machine Tuesday. Next week will be episode number 70. We are definitely making our way to that 100, guys, and 111 is the last one, I believe. So jump on now. Go backtrack, watch 70 of them, watch the old reviews.
Wow, we're under a year by a good amount. Damn.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Wow.
We're right there. We're right there, guys, because it ends in September of next year. So the first week of September. So we're finishing up 03. We're going into the fun. If you go look at Impact Plus, it's broken up by year 02, 03, 04. Yeah. We're almost in that 04 block. So we're almost there, man. So remember, guys, Time Machine Tuesday every Tuesday night. Thursday is the watch along for Impact and Access TV. Following the watch along live on Twitch, we go right to the post show, Twitch and YouTube live. It is the whole crew, myself, Mark, J-Bone, Alicia, and Bill. We all break down the whole show, discuss it. We have guests at times. Not really much guesting going on lately. A little bit quiet on the guest front. We'll bring somebody else, maybe outside. We had a big string of like Impact guests, and I noticed they're not really doing a lot of guests at all anywhere right now. Like the Impact roster isn't really making a lot of rounds on pods. If you guys noticed, they're kind of quiet. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can get back.
I busted open this week, but that was it, and that was only because of New Jack.
That was it, man. So it's not a lot going on, but the UK guys, I forgot to mention the UK. Yeah, sorry, UK guys. Every Wednesday, I believe they're going live tomorrow. I got to show.
I've impacted at lunchtime. Yeah,
I have
tonight.
to. We got to do that. We got to set them up to go live. I got to work that out with those guys and get them all set up to do it on their own. I'm producing the effing behind the scenes, but I need to set them up on their own because it's usually what is their evening is my work day. So I got to make sure we can get those guys in. But
if I'm free and I can hop in and help, I'll do it.
Appreciate you. Thank you. But yeah, we got to train those guys at some point. But Wednesday is the UK. I forgot to mention. Sorry. Wednesday's UK guys. They'll be live tomorrow with their breakdown of Under Siege and everything else. Like I said, Thursday is us on Impact and Access TV doing that whole thing. And then we do all the specials too, Impact Plus, pay-per-views. We do all that stuff here. So thank you guys for covering Under Siege in my absence. I popped on for like a minute last Saturday, but go check that. If you guys haven't watched the Under Siege review, did really well. Go check that out. Watch that review and get caught up on everything before tomorrow's Impact on Access. Twitch.tv/Total Nonstop Impact, YouTube.com/Total Nonstop Impact. All podcast platforms, guys. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, tell Alexa, tell Siri to play the damn show. We're on everything. So
tell your mama.
Tell your mama to check us out. But wherever you listen to podcasts, guys, give us a listen. We're on there. ProWrestlingTees.com/Total Nonstop Impact. Get a t-shirt. Pick that up. Big thank you to all the Twitch subscribers, the Twitch bit cheerers, people gifting subs. You guys are amazing. We had, what was it, Jay? Like one of our best weeks last week and all that.
It was. We had a level 5 hype train. We haven't reached that
before.
So thank you, everyone. Yeah,
level 5.
And that was during a watch along. That was crazy.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to jump on right there because I have some big news too. Those of you who are already members of the Total Nonstop Impact Discord may have gotten the secret hint earlier when I made some connections and someone new joined the Discord. Only a handful of people noticed it, at least from what I can tell. But I'm going to go ahead and say June 1st. Can I say it?
June 1st. Are we committing to June 1st?
We're committing right now.
Oh, shit.
June 1st, Patreon launch day. Because with the way that Patreon works, whenever you sign up, you get billed at the beginning of the month. That way, June 1st, you're going to get the full month. Can I tell them what they're going to get?
Oh,
it's going to be a bit of a work in progress, but tell them some of the stuff.
Starting. Okay, we'll save what the tiers are, but let's say we're starting smallish, but we've got some big ideas, but we got to see how it goes. So if you want to see more content from us, or if you like what we do, you just want to support us, this will be a new way to do that, and we'll also give you some more content in return. The return of some popular old friends, popular old shows, maybe some new stuff, some non-impact stuff. There may be a whole plethora of things depending on how much time we can make and how much interest there is. So really, when I always say this is the family, this is our community, right? Like, we're not doing this for money, but at the point we're at, we're all very, very busy and oversaturated. And the only way we can make this work is to actually like force ourselves to do it by putting us in a position where we have committed. So we're committing ourselves to it, but we need that commitment from you as well. And we commit, to this thing together.
Also, we're conscious of the fact that Throwback is ending in under a year of shows here, right? Like Throwback is going to eventually be going, like Asylum days are done. So we have to, the flagship stays the flagship. That's the granddaddy of them all. And that's our anchor of the whole thing. But yeah, we're looking for a way to bring extra content. That is like, it's not primary content, but it's extra content. That's the idea. And it's specials and there'll be incentives and things like that. So we're working on it. We'll reveal more of the tier stuff as we tweak it a bit, guys. But yeah.
And just so everybody knows, we're not going to be moving specials behind a paywall.
No, that's
pay-per-view stuff. None of that stuff. Yeah, that's all still going to be out there. This is strictly so that we can
bonus content.
Yeah, so that if people want it, we can provide more content, because we fucking love you guys. We know you love us. Like, this shit is family. We're going to do our best to make it work, and we'll see how it goes. So Summer's coming up. Could be a fun one.
All I'm like, as we start rolling stuff out, just don't ask for personal stuff. Like, don't ask for where the bodies are hidden and shit like that. Just, we're going to keep it to like, wrestling-ish stuff,
Ish.
Which
ish.
one's
Ish. And again, what's nice about that too is once we figure out what's going on, we can tweak it. We can take more requests. We can figure this out together. But anyways, guys, I've talked long enough about that. It's coming. I've put us a date on us now, June 1st.
June 1st it is. All right. Well, more details as that comes around, guys. And but that'll be it. Anything else? Nothing else, right? We're good, guys. All right. Join the UK boys tomorrow, and we'll see you guys Thursday for the Impact Access TV watch along and post show review. So, guys, have a great night. Stay safe out there. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Good night, everybody.